Today, I would like to talk to you about my secret for longevity because a lot of times people are very shocked when they hear my real age. Usually, they guess about 15 years under what my actual age is. And I don't know if it's because of the way I dress or talk, or maybe it's these locks. But whatever it is, I know that I have a secret that I use and things that I do to help me in this life. It's a part of my consciousness and the way I treat my body. So let's get into it, y'all. One thing that really changed my life and the rest of my life was this experiment that I did. So I took some rice and I did three variables. One was my independent, dependent, and control variable. So one rice I loved, one rice I hated, and the other rice I left alone, which was um, my control variable. Now, what happened was over time, I noticed that the one I hated, of course, started to mold, and the one I loved didn't do nothing. So I kept the experiment going on for well over a year. And guess what? You'll never believe it. The rice that I hated, it molded so bad that it liquefied into black liquid. The control variable turned into black liquid. Now, guess what happened to the one I loved? Nothing. It was just as fresh as the first date that I prepared it. That alone changed my mindset. It changed my consciousness, the way I see things, right? I said, yo, if love does that, if that's a preserving frequency, I want to resonate with that. I want to be love. I am love. So if you know me, you know that I write love on everything that's edible, right? So what I discovered doing that experiment and to start doing other experiments, that there's laws in this dimension. And regardless of your awareness to these laws, you still gonna be held accountable to them, right? Whether if you acknowledge them or not. So laws are absolute, y'all. Like for example, the law of gravity. If I'm on top of a building and I jump off, right, what's gonna happen? I'm not gonna go up. I'm going down, right? Because the law of gravity is in effect at all time. It's an absolute law. So there are some things that I've learned. I started studying laws and principles, and I started applying these things, which actually changed my consciousness. In return, exchange, I received a lot of longevity. Of course, longevity is genetics, of course, as well, but it's a lot of the things that you put in your body, y'all, and it's the way that you think. These things really affect your longevity. So one of the things that I did and I continuously do is I eat less to live longer, period. So every morning when I wake up, I don't eat anything. I don't eat my first meal until 12 noon. And I only eat one meal a day, maybe sometimes two meals a day, but that's it. That's it. And when the sun sets, my stomach sets. I'm done eating, right? So at 8 o'clock, don't go over 8 o'clock. I'm done. I cut all of my food off. And basically what that does is I'm basically eating when the sun is at its highest point, right? So the energies of the earth are highest. So my body works within that, and it helps me to digest food a lot better. So y'all, I'm telling you, the less you eat, the longer you live. I promise you, especially with all this processed food that we have and all the things that we eat are not even real anymore. So the next thing I do is I drink spring water, but not just bottled water, spring water, right, that you get from a store. I actually go to Indian Springs Creek and I get my water from there. Now, the water may stink, it may smell like rotten eggs, but that's the sulfur in it. So there's dozens of minerals in this spring water. And this spring water, people swear by it. And I've been drinking it for years and I swear by it as well. One thing that I know that it does, it nourishes the cells within my body. My cells actually start to crave for it, right? Because it's actual nutrients. A lot of times we don't get nutrients. What we get when we drink bottled water is blank water. We get microplastics in the water. And that's not good for our system, right? What you really want to do with your water is what I do. I put it in a copper container and I put it in the refrigerator and let it sit for over 24 hours. So drink from copper. This helps keep the minerals active and alive, and it helps to keep your water electric, right? And the copper is really good for your body. That's why you see a lot of people in African culture, they wear a lot of copper because copper is good for our skin. So, and it's also good for our bodies, y'all. So that's a thing. Next thing I make sure I do, I make sure to move my body, right? I make sure that I exercise, keep my body moving. And there's a reason for that. I saw a study on CNN.com. It said that if you exercise for just 15 minutes a day, it will add 3 years to the rest of your life. The rest of your life. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So I always make sure I move my body as much as I can, right? And another reason for moving your body is because you got to understand the cells that are within your cells, they give excretions. They poop, they pee inside your body, right? And that goes into your lymphatic system. Now, your lymphatic system is manual. So that means it has to be moved. It doesn't automatically move. And the way it moves is you move your body. And that's how your lymphatic system moves to pick up all the metabolic waste that are coming from the cells and to release it from your body. So it's very important. Exercise is really high on the list. One of the next things I do, y'all, is I really grow my own food. Growing my own food is important. I learned this lesson in COVID. COVID changed a lot of stuff. It changed my mentality, the way I see things. I stopped cutting my hair. As you see, my hair has been growing since COVID. But basically, I grow my own food because I don't trust what's out there. And I don't trust that if the grocery store is closed, why am I relying on a grocery store to provide my family and I the food that we need to survive? No, that's not going to work anymore. So basically, it started during COVID. You don't have to, I lived in Buckhead, so you don't need a lot of land or nothing. I had a balcony. And on my balcony, I got these large plant basins and I started planting collard greens in it, lettuce. I even grew peppers, y'all, outside. Like I grew herbs, catnip, just different type of herbs. I was just experimenting with stuff and I was eating from my balcony. And those lessons I carried on to here where I bought this property out here. I bought land. So I'm sitting on about 1.5 acres of land right now. And this land that I bought out here, of course, has a water source right here in my backyard. So I can always fish, right? So I don't have to trust the grocery store's fish. I can get fresh fish right from my own lake. Another thing, I planted trees, y'all. I planted fruit trees. So right now in my yard, I have pear trees, I have apple trees, and one of the things that grew first was peach trees. So my peaches are amazing and they taste so good. And when you buy a peach from the store, it don't even taste the same, which make me wonder, like, what are they really doing to our food, y'all? Because the food don't taste the same when you grow it yourself. My greens don't taste the same from store-bought greens. My fruit don't. And I have chickens. My eggs from the chickens don't even taste the same. I can tell it's way more nutritious when I crack it and do a comparison. My chicken's yolks are more golden. That's how you know it's real. And a lot of this stuff we're getting is fake, even down to the chicken eggs. And they're putting chemicals in it and hormones. That's why when you see the store now, your eggs say stay fresher longer. There's a reason for that, y'all. They are manipulating our food source. And it's crazy because food connects with our DNA. You see, the food, like when I grow food, I know it sits in the sun all day. So it's connected to the source. And the sun is giving information to the food, and the food is giving information to us. That's how we make the connection, y'all. But a lot of times our food is being grown in lab. They have lab meat now. They have lab chicken, clone cows, right? So you really don't know what you're eating, and you don't know the DNA information that they're putting in your food. So it's better to grow your own food. Just think about this. Why we in Georgia, in the peach state, why we don't go down the street and see peach trees everywhere? They're so easy to grow. Why can't a homeless person just go up, pull up, and just grab some fruit off the tree and eat it and be fine? Because we're in a matrix, we're in a system. It's all about controlling you. And the more independence you get from this system, y'all, the healthier you will be. So I promise you, start collecting seeds, start growing your own food. It don't take a lot of land, but it does take a mentality to do something like that. So don't rely on nobody else but yourself. One of the next things that I started doing in this life that I really think that changed who I am And my body, it's the way I think of myself. It's my consciousness. First thing, I used to call myself Ralph G, right? And that was a whole nother dude, right? But now I'm King Raphael. So it's a difference in how I see myself. And now my cells in my body, they know who I am. They know me, and they move as such. They move in royalty, right? My mind is set on royalty things. That's why I like to own assets, because I understand that assets bring about income. So who I call myself is very important, and who you call yourself and what you respond to is extremely important. Imagine you're a person that doesn't think highly of yourself, then your body don't think highly of yourself, and it's how you call disease upon yourself. And let me just say this, y'all: dis-ease is what it is. See, we're meant to live a very long time. Our bodies were created really to be eternal. And one of the reasons why I'll say this, because there was a study done, and this Russian scientist, he took a heart out the body and put it in certain perfect living conditions, and he kept that heart alive for 25 years. It never aged. See, our tissues aren't designed to age. A lot of times the reason why it ages is the stress that we put on it, right? It's the environmental toxins, right? We don't get enough sun, we don't get enough air and things like that. Even the clothes we wear, we're not wearing linen. That's electrical, that allows oxygen to come in. We're wearing cotton a lot of the times. So it's really, really deep, y'all, when we get to think about the mentality and how we move, y'all. So we really got to change how we think about ourselves, because there's something called neurotransmitters. And the neurotransmitters are basically when you have a thought, right? When you have an electrical thought, it sends a signal throughout your body. So each cell is sending neurotransmissions to each other cell so it can know how you feel, and it knows what to create for you, because things are in the invisible, which is your mind. And it's the job of your body to manifest what your mind thinks about, which is in the invisible. So this is why the neurotransmitters are sending chemical reactions. So, right. So the mind and emotions create reality. It's your mind and it's your emotions that create your reality and what you live, y'all. So if you're thinking negatively about somebody all day, then guess what? Those feelings are toxins within your body. That's why people who hold on to guilt and regret, and they hate somebody for years because somebody did them wrong, and they hold on to that. Don't be surprised when tumors are created. Don't be surprised when cancers are created within the body, because of holding on to that high level of negativity, y'all. I'm going to tell you again, it's the mind and the emotions that create the reality within the body. This is why I believe that I cannot get sick. Anything else is dis-ease. A dis-ease is a symptom, y'all. Is a symptom of something that we're doing wrong, and we don't take time to even rest. When we get sick, we still go to work, right? We still hustle hard. We don't take time to relax and let the body do its thing, but instead we start treating the symptoms. So when your nose is running, maybe your body is trying to help you out, get something out. Maybe sometime when you coughing and you coughing a lot, maybe your body is trying to expel something out of it. But what do? Take cough syrup and suppress the cough. You see how we treat symptoms? And these are the things that pile up in our body. And the next thing you know, we got pneumonia. So I'm telling y'all, it's the way that we treat each other and see each other and see yourself, which creates your reality. And as we talk about that, y'all, our emotions are so important. That's why we have emotional weight, y'all. When emotional weight makes you physically overweight. Did y'all catch me? Emotional weight makes you physically overweight. You ever heard of emotional eating? You feeling emotional about something? And this ain't, you ain't eating, mouth just steady running, steady moving, right? Even at night. And that's the worst time to eat, y'all. You have to understand, when you want to live and have a longevity in this life, you got to know when to eat, the right time periods to eat. And when you're eating at night, when the energy level is low and your body level is supposed to be in relaxed mode and supposed to be in digestion mode, we're giving it food, restarting the process over again. And a lot of foods that we eat are not real. It's not processed. It's processed food. It's actually denatured food. The food that we eat is denatured, and this pulls from our life force energy because our body has to metabolize it. Y'all get that? And when our body is metabolizing it, it's pulling energy from us. That's when we eat these big meals that are not good for us, what happens? We get sleepy. We get the itis because that's your body pulling energy to digest this food. And what happens is we don't even work out. So then we sleep on this undigested food, right? And what happens is our white blood cells in our body have to go into our gut and concentrate itself in our gut to fight against this denatured food, to help process this denatured food that we're eating. And when it's fighting in the gut all the time, guess what? It can't be in the other parts of your body to help fight off against real germs and bacteria, right? And viruses, because all of your energy is going to the gut. So we really have to change the way we think. We really have to change the way we live, y'all. And the next thing I started doing, y'all, is I stopped chasing pleasure before purpose. My purpose comes first before my pleasure. But when I was young, I didn't know that. You see, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And I lived differently. I changed my mindset on things, especially, y'all, especially in the areas of sex. I learned you can't lay down with everybody. You know, we all know about STDs, but one thing we don't think about is sexually transmitted diseases and sexually transmitted demons. They are real, right? And we take on people's demons, y'all. We take on people's energy. Why is that? Because sex, sex, is a sacred exchange, right? It's a spiritual exchange, y'all, and it's very sacred. It's not for everybody. My body isn't for everybody. Your body isn't for everybody, right? It's really for the glorification of God, right? And then you save it for your husband. You save it for your wife, right? So they can get the full you. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, we gotta stop chasing pleasure before our purpose. You put your purpose first, and everything will be added unto you. If you seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness, all things will be added unto you. I promise you, y'all. So I hope y'all took on what I said and really listen to what I had to say, because this was from the heart. That's why I wanted to share with y'all some of my longevity secrets, y'all, because longevity isn't a secret. It's a decision, right? And when you live by these laws, some of these laws that I shared you, they govern your life, y'all. And they govern your life. And when you do that, they will help to multiply your life and add years to your life, y'all. And that's what's up. That's truly loving yourself.